welcome back to Newsday. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Now, in an audacious move, the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, has called for a review of the constitution with the aim of seeking more powers for traditional rulers in the country. The monarch, who was represented by the Onefegunwa of Ifegunwa in Ile-Ife, Oba Adedire Adewole Solomon, also pleaded with Nigerians to be more patient with President Bola Tinubu's administration. The Ooni was speaking at the weekend at an award ceremony in Abuja, where he described the 2024 budget presented to the National Assembly by the President as a promising one. Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale now joins us to discuss the Ooni's proposal for constitutional review, among other things. Good afternoon and welcome to Newsday. Great to have you.
It's a pleasure.
Perfect way to start the week.
It's a pleasure, as usual.
As usual. Okay, getting straight into it. The AGF also recently shared similar sentiments when he said traditional rulers need to be given a constitutional role. Now, aren't we at risk of over-governance, if we delve into this? What are your thoughts on this issue?
I'm totally against it. I'll tell you why.
Categorically.
See, we have enough problems running a democracy or a meritocracy, which is the desirable thing to do, than for people to pull us back by talking about traditional institutions. You see, democracy is trying to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, to create opportunities for people, to find a way of sharing power. What does the traditional institution, what does it do? It amasses power. And then for the Ooni to bring this out at this particular time, he's trying to challenge history. And I will go into history to show the irrelevance of what he has proposed, given what is on the ground. Even in Britain, which is a traditional monarchy, and the Emirates, the wealthy Emirates of the Middle East, where you have hereditary emirs in charge, they are trying to move towards democracy, not the other way around. And then you see, when you talk of those who are traditional rulers, especially in a setup created by colonialism, you have to talk of slavery. And when you talk of slavery, you rake up dirty facts about the power of traditional institutions and the power of, the history of politics generally. Last Saturday, coincidentally, I witnessed a carnival in Lagos with Broad Street, Brazilian Descendants Association. You get me? It was, I think the chief host was, coincidentally, the Attorney General of Lagos State, Mr. Pedro San. The host families, well-known Lagos Brazilian family, Damilda, Morio, Damasio, they hosted it. I was there. I was invited by a friend, Vera Cruz. Those are products of slavery. You get me? Now, after the end of slavery, they returned to Lagos. You see, slavery was based on, it was a sort of trade. You get me? Gone for slaves. But it was traditional rulers who brought the slaves to the coast for the Portuguese. You get me? That's why Lagos is a Portuguese name. For 400 years, they said the Portuguese started slavery. They are still at it until the British stopped them in 18-something with the freedom of the slaves. But then even in Britain, when the slaves were freed, the slave owners demanded reparation, trading human beings. So now, even now, BBC has done the research that has traced even King Charles and his ancestors, and Jerebion, the former minister, that the ancestors were former slave owners. People are talking of reparations now. And then in Nigeria, traditional ruler comes out and say they want to participate in government. If they want to participate in government, let us share their traditional robes and let us face the action. After all, the military metamorphosed from braided hat and boots into agbada. And they have ruled us on 2 occasions, huh? On 2 occasions, Sobowale, Buhari, let the military people share their crowns and then come on the level playing field and canvass to be elected. Because democracy, as much as it is bad, it's still based on creating more opportunities and spreading the level of political participation so that too much power is not concentrated in the hands of one power just because of the birth. It is not on. I don't buy into it.
Thank you for that, the trip down history.
Yes.
Mr. Sobowale, I always value your insight. But just wondering, you've made it clear that you're opposed to this.
Yes.
What about other traditional rulers that might also share this sentiment of wanting to have the constitution reviewed and having more power given to the traditional rulers? In the event that this is actually carried out, even if you're against
Who will carry it?
We are
talking of participatory democracy.
I know,
the
but
power resides in the ballot box.
But what if
not in the palaces?
But what
or
if
not in the gun?
But what if people see reason with what he's saying, that
if people see reason, then we put it to the vote.
So you don't think this will ever come into fruition?
Don't let me use some language.
Use the language.
It's not very likely.
Okay.
Mr. Sobowale, can I let me play devil's advocate for a moment, because there are traditionalists who will listen to your position and say, this man has been brainwashed, this man has been colonized, his thinking has betrayed our roots and our foundations as Africans, because before the colonizers came, this was the system we had, and many argue that it worked. What is your response to that? That yes, it may have had its evils in light of slavery.
Let me answer. That's right. You have not heard what I said now. Slavery. I say you cannot talk of traditional institutions and of colonialism without talking of.
But what about the good that the traditional rulers did? So yes, there's the evil of slavery, but are you saying that there was no positive contributions made in the history of Nigeria from traditional rulers?
Is that possible? Whoever said that? Whoever said that?
So what about the positive that traditional rulers bring?
Wait, traditional society is gone, literally. We are speaking English now. You see how I'm there, you are dead. You want to change that? Can any reparations change that? You are products of history. Let us live with what we cannot change. Do you get me now? We speak English. I mean,
at the same time, Mr. Sobowale, because I think we've made your stance very clear on this.
Yes.
He also took the time to acknowledge ask Nigerians for more patience on the part, to give them more patience,
yes.
Tinubu administration more patience, and also gave his kudos regarding what the budget looks like.
That is what the Obas should be doing.
But
sorry, Cynthia, let me bring in another bitter truth. Indirect rule.
Indirect rule. British system of ruling.
They use the emirs.
Ruling it's
up to today.
Through the traditional rulers.
The emirs in the north are Fulani stock. You get me? They were used by the British. The British never went directly to the people. They ruled through the Sultan and the emirs. The same thing in the West. When they came to the West, even at this particular effect, the first time they used indirect system was during the reign of Obademi. It's there in the cradle of a race.
But Mr. Sobowale, what I was actually getting to is he's asking Nigerians to be more patient with the president, with this administration. But this is all coming on the backdrop where you're seeing this large delegation, for instance, in Dubai, and we're always hearing about being more patient. That thing.
What is happening in Dubai?
The large delegation, the COP 28.
Dubai too is a monarchy. It's an Emirati.
I'm just saying, how much more appeal for patience can Nigerians continue to listen to?
That. You are commending the traditional system. What?
Mr. Sobowale, still on the traditional system. So, I'm just taking from your point on indirect rule, when from various parts of the nation. But does that mean that democratically elected leaders can't be puppets too?
They can.
So what are the...
There's ideology. Your questions will answer itself. There are ideological issues. Democracy. Democracy wants to creating more human rights, rule of law, and all that. A stable environment for you to govern yourself so there is no anarchy. Socialism tries to bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. Capitalism allows the individual to flourish and in the process take care of society. And you have a mixed economy. We have not sorted that out admirably or very well. That is why we are querying the election results and all that. Now, unelected leaders like traditional rulers will come in. I don't think that we have passed that age. Like you said that other Obas, I think the Oba of Onitsha, Obi of Onitsha, a former NNPC man, King Achebe, once suggested this sort of thing. That you see, they should collaborate, give them some powers. You get me? Maybe to bring society together and collaborate. But you see, I don't see any meaningful role for unelected rulers. You see, they are very, very easy to use. The military use them. The military use traditional rulers to get order. And when the military left, they started giving traditional titles to former military rulers. And then you see, even in our society, go and find out, any military officer that has royal lineage, invariably, if they contest, they win the title. You see, for us to remember our culture and make ourselves happy, they are in place. Government normally votes a lot of money for culture. But you see, if you are trying to say that they did a lot in the past, and part of what they did was that they have been selling our people to slavery. And now, in the US, all over the world, people are having a compunction over that. We should not forget that history. So for another modern ruler of a highly respected kingdom of Ife to come with that, it needs to be checkmated before it gets out of hand.
Well said. Thank you so much for your insight, Mr. Dayo Sobowale, our rising analyst. We appreciate you here, as always.